Now, we've been away from the Italian village for a couple episodes now, so I feel like it's definitely time that we return today to build something new, and I kind of have an ambitious idea. I want this village to have some sort of, like, main attraction, and I was contemplating for a while what I wanted that to be, and I think I've finally decided that I want it to be an art museum. I think, like, an Italian-inspired art museum would be sick, like, right here. We're gonna have to clear out a lot of those trees and probably level off the terrain to make it make sense, but I feel like that's just a really good picture. And with this art museum, I actually want to populate it with art from you guys. A few of you have made fan art for this world so far, and many of you just share art in my Discord in general, so I want to actually put those pieces of art in the museum just on paintings. I'm pretty sure there's a mod out there where I can change paintings to whatever PNG I want. Or something along those lines. I don't know. I'll figure it out. That's not important. What is important is that if you want to have any of your art featured in this art museum, please let me know in the comments or reach out to me on Discord. However you want to contact me, it doesn't really matter to me. Just please let me know, and I would love to feature it. I'll get a few of the pieces in there today that I've already been granted access to use, but I'm sure I won't have enough to fill out an entire art museum, so I'm gonna need more. And it doesn't have to do with me at all. It doesn't have to be fan art. It could just be anything, honestly, just any piece of art that you've worked on. So that's the plan for the episode. Like I said, it's gonna be an ambitious one because this thing is going to be huge. I'll talk more about it here in a second, but let me go introduce the new YouTube members. I realized I didn't do this last episode, and I felt so bad. So let me make sure I do it as early as possible here. All right, first things first. We have two YouTube members who are already up on the wall, but I have finally gotten their blocks. Dr. Throw is a netherite block. Yes, I actually got a netherite block. If you look at how many times I've mined netherrack now, it's at 48,852. I grinded for like 2 hours, but we finally got it. We got ourselves a netherite block here for Dr. Throw. And then also, Reese Denton, my man, has been super patient. Finally got him his pearlescent froglight. I'm sorry that took so long. Frogs are just such a pain to deal with, dude. They take like 20 minutes to grow up, and then you have to make sure they don't die in the nether, and you gotta find a magma cube. It's just a project, and whatever. We finally did it. Anyway, for the rest of the YouTube members, these guys are all new. We got John T. We have Ben Bob 2626. We have Paul C. We have the shipping cargo. We have Cano P Tech B. Is that how you say that? Let me see again. Hold on. Canop Tech B 312. I don't know where the pronunciation's supposed to be, but there you go, man. We have Goobmeister as well. He's gonna round off the list. So everyone, welcome all of the new members of the Shramily onto the membership hall. And now let me go clear out my inventory because I have a bunch of random junk on me, and then I can start talking about this build in a little bit more detail. Alright, so full disclosure with this build, this is the first time in this world that I have already kind of built something before. I was messing around with Simply Night in the backup I have for this world, just trying to come up with a cool design for this build because I knew I wanted to make it huge, and I didn't think I was going to be able to freehand that so well. I think I'm pretty comfortable at freehanding like medium-sized builds, like pretty much everything we have on the world so far. We have a couple small builds too, yeah, but like the biggest I get, I would say, is a medium-sized build. And I'm comfortable freehanding those. But when it comes to like actually huge buildings, I don't think I'm able to freehand them. So what we did is just mess around for a little while, mainly just figuring out the shape and the scale of this thing. That's the area that I would definitely struggle with if I tried to freehand this. I think I'd be able to detail it pretty easily, like the gradients and the color palette and windows and stuff like that. I don't think would be too difficult to actually accomplish. It's mainly just the scale. I think if I just tried to freehand it, I wouldn't go large enough. So I feel like in this instance, it makes sense to... Hold on, why is there a hole here? Anyway, though, like I was saying, the size and like the proportions of everything, that would have been where I struggled if I tried to freehand this build, and that's why I think I actually needed to map this out in creative first. The build isn't super detailed in the creative world. I'm gonna come back through and do that like freehand with you guys, but I just wanted to set some expectations for this video. This is the first time that I've actually built something in creative first. I think I'll even talk a little bit more about this while I'm gathering up some materials, but that's pretty much the gist of it. Now, speaking of materials, let me run and grab a couple, and I can go over the color palette here with you guys. Once we get like the base shape built up, I'll have to go back out and gather some materials to texture with. I don't actually know what those are going to be just yet. I'll have to figure that out just down the line. But in terms of like the base color palette for the build, the walls are going to mainly be out of stripped birchwood. I'm also going to have like an oak wood trim kind of at the top. So I'm just going to put these upside down stairs to signify that. And then the roof block that I'm going to use is going to be out of these teal blocks. So we're gonna pop in some copper, probably some warped wood as well. That's a pretty easy texturing block when it comes to this type of color. Maybe some like mossy stones as well. Kind of like this color palette there on the library, if you want to think about that. But it's mainly going to be copper. And doesn't that just look fantastic? That's it. That's the whole thing. This is what Simply Knight and I came up with. This is what we spent 4 hours building the one day. It was just this. Anyway, additionally to this, we're gonna have these sandstone pillars throughout the entire build as well. So this looks really stupid right now, I'm aware. But once it's extrapolated, I say that word too often. I gotta stop. Once I get this thing built up to the scale that it's supposed to be, this is gonna look a lot better. But these are the main blocks that I'm gonna have to go gather in bulk right now. And like I mentioned before, I will have to gather up probably a whole bunch of additional blocks later once we get like the shape built up to texture this thing with. But for now, I'm just going to focus on these main blocks here. And you know what I could do is, since I'm probably going to have to use Lightmatica in this video just to, you know, copy over the schematic that we already built, I could go ahead and see how many of each of these blocks I'm going to need, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep this aspect free-handed, all right? I'm just going to go gather a bunch of stuff until I feel like it's enough. I'm not going to get enough of something, I already know, and then I'm going to be really annoyed with myself, but that's part of the game, man. The block that I'm going to need the most of right now is definitely stripped birchwood. So I'm going to fly around for a little bit and try to find a birch forest. And while I'm doing this, I actually want to talk a little bit about my thoughts on building in creative first and planning out your builds and using Axiom and Lightmatica and stuff like that. I've talked about this a lot, but my opinions have slightly changed. Now, this is something that you don't really care about. I will leave a timestamp on screen now that you can just go ahead and skip if you want, and it'll get back to the rest of the video. Like I was saying a little bit earlier, when it comes to like medium to small scale builds, I will probably never use Axiom or a Creative World for something like that. I am very comfortable freehanding those builds, and I very much enjoy freehanding those builds. So that's something that I don't really want to take away from. And honestly, I thought that was going to be like the extent of my builds. I thought I was never really going to be the type of person who builds something huge, because I never really had time to build anything too large. You know, working full-time and still trying to get these videos out as routinely as possible, it made it really difficult to build anything too big. If I went too large, the video would just take forever to come out, and then it was just a hassle. And that's also why I never really tried Axiom or to build in a creative world first, because since I had such limited time, I kind of figured if I was going to build this thing at all, I might as well just build it only once in the survival world and save myself from having to build it again. But recently, YouTube has become my full-time job. So now I don't have another job to worry about. I can spend all of my time working on these videos, and that has caused me to want to build bigger things, because now I actually have the time to do it. Recently, I built my biggest thing ever in my hardcore world. If you haven't seen that video, please check it out. This is my full-time job now. I need views. But no, yeah, so that's the biggest thing I've ever made by a mile. And it was only possible because of Axiom and a creative world. I didn't build the entire thing in Axiom first and then just replicate it directly into the hardcore world. I kind of did what I'm going to do here. I just built up the shape first, and then I just went through and detailed in the hardcore world firsthand. So now that I'm building bigger things every so often, I think my opinions on Axiom and creative planning have completely changed. I still think there's aspects of Axiom that I will just quite literally never use because I just don't want to, but the features of just making a giant box and being able to like move it to wherever you want is just super useful. That aspect saves me so much time. And also, I don't want you to be concerned that all my builds are going to be like mega bases now, because they most certainly will not. I will be building small scale things all the time still, and like medium scale things. Just every so often, I want to sprinkle in just a huge build that I'm really proud of. Anyway, that's my rant. I appreciate those of you who actually stuck around and listened to that. Thank you so much. I am really excited that this is now my full-time job and I can commit like all of my time to doing this. I feel like I've noticed my videos go up in quality a little bit, and I think it's because of this full-time commitment now. So I hope you guys have noticed as well. But now, with that out of the way, let me find a birch forest. Dude, this is taking forever. Wait, hold on. Enchanted golden apple. This is more important than the birch wood. A Smite 5 golden sword. That's pretty cool. But I've been flying for almost a day now, and I don't really think I'm gonna find a birch forest. There is my enchanted golden apple in this chest, though, actually. Sorry, I misspoke earlier. It's actually right here. I don't care how long I have to do that bit for. I'm gonna get one. It's gonna happen once. And I'm gonna be the happiest guy ever whenever it happens. I'm just gonna park down in this forest here and just chop down every birch tree that I can find, pretty much. So let me sleep away the night so I don't get bothered, and then we can start chopping. I actually only ended up gathering like just under 2 stacks of stripped birch logs in this initial forest, before I realized that I have actually found a woodland mansion in this world. So that means I know where a dark oak forest is exactly, and birch forests usually spawn close to those. So I ended up just heading towards the woodland mansion, and sure enough, I found a birch forest. That made my life so much easier. I'm so happy I was able to find this birch forest, because I now have a shulker box of birch wood and a little extra, along with a bunch of stacks of saplings. So if I need more birch wood later, I could pretty easily grow some at my base. And honestly, more importantly... Hold on a second, where is he? There he is. I found this guy. He's chilling, dude. Just a naturally spawning pink sheep. Look at him go. Now I want to fly off to the desert and collect up a whole bunch of sandstone. And I should probably replant these birch saplings that I'm just collecting now, but kind of don't want to. I think I'm just going to take them with me. Negative 3035, 4840. Negative 3035, 4840. All right, let's head off to the desert, and let's go get a shulker box of sandstone. I shouldn't need more than that. I made it to the desert, but I made it on my last rocket, and my elytra is also not looking good, so I'm gonna have to spend some time killing some creepers here so I can make up a couple more rockets. But let me grab up a lot of this sandstone, and this looks like actually a really healthy chunk of it that I should be able to insta-mine very easily. Cool. I love gathering sandstone. That was like the fastest almost shulker box I've ever gathered in my life. My pickaxe is very close to dying though, so I think I'm gonna stop the sandstone collection for now, and we can head back home. I think that should be enough if we couple that with what I have at my house. Let me go ahead then and just kill a couple creepers so we can get home easily. I should have more than enough gunpowder for now. Yeah, I have 32 on me. So let's go ahead and make 57 more rockets. Not bad at all. While I'm still in the area over here, I'm gonna keep flying to see if I can find desert chunks that haven't been loaded yet. Yes, because I want this new grass block right here. What is this called? Oh, that almost was bad if that was a if that was like a deep cave. What is this called? Tall dry grass. I'm assuming you need shears, right? You do. Sick. And I think you can bone meal this stuff. Oh, that's short dry grass. Okay, there's different kinds. I'm so happy that I finally got this block, man. It's been way too long. All right, I think that should be everything that I need from the desert. So let me head back home, and then I can probably start terraforming, because there's going to be a decent amount of work that has to be done before we can start building. And I think I should have pretty much all the materials that I'm going to need to at least begin here, so I think terraforming is the logical next step. Back home now, just in the experience farm, I'm going to heal up my pickaxe, my axe, and my shovel before I do any kind of terraforming at all. And I wonder if I should eventually make another experience farm. This has been my experience farm for so long. I don't know, man. I don't know. One thing I do know is that I need to get some villagers to take some of this rotten flesh off my hands. I just have way too much of it. But that's something we'll figure out later. The area is now prepped for the build. We have all the build materials over here. They've all been moved over, and I have a big bowl of Chinese food. And so honestly, I don't think I've ever been more prepared to start building. Just to kind of show you guys the scale of this thing, this is the first layer of the schematic. It's pretty big. It's quite beefy. And if you're not familiar with how Lightmatica works, none of these blocks are actually here. I do have to go and manually place all of these. There's a couple additional blocks that I'm gonna have to go get. I don't think I grabbed any of these mossy cobblestone walls. So there's a couple random things that I'll have to get at the end, but we should be able to at least get most of the shape down. And then I'll have to kind of reconvene, see what kind of blocks I'm still missing, and then add those in afterwards. Oh, and also it goes up to there. It's pretty tall. So I'm gonna continue eating up my Chinese food, and I'm gonna queue up like a 2.5 hour long video and get this thing built. All right, the first stage of building is now completed. It's very bare, but we at least have a shape, and this thing is huge. But I think it still fits with the area. Like, it's massive, it's easily the biggest thing here, but I don't think it's, like, out of scale. These, like, Italian art museums and other buildings that we were kind of looking up are massive, like, compared to everything else. So I feel like this fits. I'm really happy with this. I think this is an awesome looking building. And honestly, I can't wait to decorate this thing more. But that's a job for me tomorrow, dude. It's late. I won't go to bed. So I'll see you guys in the morning. It's now the morning. And by morning, I mean 12:19 p.m. So definitely not. Also, my internet is not working. I don't know why it's down. But because of that, this is my skin now. What's up? Yeah, so let's start detailing the rest of this build, I guess. What do I want to do first? I think first I want to add a couple extra details like up top here. So if I pop into free cam once more, you'll see that I have these copper bars and mossy cobblestone walls going all the way across here. There are a few other things that I would like to add up here, and that's going to require gathering a little bit of materials. And I definitely have some of the materials that I'm going to need. I'm going to need a little bit of this warped wood. I'll bring actually just all the warped wood I have. Why not? And I am also going to need some candles, but these need to be cyan candles. And I got 10 cyan dye. Is that just going to allow me to make 10 cyan candles? It is. Okay, I'm probably going to need a little bit more than that, but I only have 1 cactus left. All right, well, I guess I'm just going to grow this over by the art museum. And in the meantime, I guess I'll just use the 10 candles that I have now. Other thing that I'm going to need is a couple pumpkins. Where have I been keeping my pumpkins? Are they not here? They're probably in my storage room. I'll just harvest a couple of these. Shouldn't need too many of these pumpkins. 16 should be plenty. We're back here by the museum. First things first, let me get this cactus planted. That's going to take a little bit to actually grow, but let's at least get started on that. I also grabbed a whole bunch of other random stuff as well that I think I'm going to need in the future. But as for this top section here, I'm going to need to craft up a couple of these warped fences. 9 honestly might be enough. No, it's definitely not enough. What am I saying? So with these warped fences and these cyan candles, I'm just going to alternate these along the top. So these copper bars are eventually going to oxidize all the way down. I don't want them being this color. I want them to be fully oxidized. So I'm going to put these cyan candles on top of all of these bars. And then the warped fences are going to go on top of the mossy cobblestone walls. And it's going to look kind of like that. But obviously just imagine that the bars are also cyan colored, so it'll blend in a lot better. But I think that looks really cool, going all the way around. And I want to put even more stuff up there, but we need to make a little friend first. And of course, those friends are going to be copper golems. I honestly don't know how these guys work, like, at all. But I know that you could get, like, a copper golem statue. Like these guys. Okay, so they already stopped moving. Can I just pick them up? I can. Okay, so these guys should all stop moving probably shortly, right? Dude, I love these guys. These guys are adorable. Look at them go, man. They're just trying to do their jobs. While those guys keep working a little bit, let me throw on the first few up here so you can kind of get the idea. So I want these guys to just kind of line the top here. Not every block, though. Probably almost every other block. And I think you can make them change what they're doing. You can. Okay, cool. So the two guys on the end, they're just going to be sitting down. These guys are going to be doing like a little jumping jack type thing. And then the ones in the middle, I think, are just going to be standing. Yeah, something like that. Okay. And now, I'm just going to hide right here and peel back. Dude, look at them, man. Look at them up there. They look so cool. It's a pretty small detail, but I love it. And then, can I do that? Oh, I can. Okay, so we can even change the oxidation on these guys. Okay, I'll probably have to mess with that and then wax them at some point, but I think these little guys are sick. I don't have enough on me right now. I still have to wait for the rest of those guys to turn into statues. But I was thinking we can also throw a couple all the way at the top here. And I also made this discovery recently. If you make them sitting down, you can put a candle at the top and it kind of fits. Wait, I don't have a flint and steel on me. Hold on, let me go light it. Boop. And then it's a lit up candle. Look at them, dude. I love that. Can you even see that from all the way back here? You probably can't. You definitely cannot tell that candle's lit. But I know it's lit, alright? And that's all that matters. Alright, the rest of these guys turned into statues. So I can complete the top ring up there. Dude, it's such a subtle addition, but I'm so happy with it. Okay. So that's going to be the top of the building done, I think. All right, so while I wait for the cactus to grow, they grew a flower. That's not really what I wanted. But while I wait for this cactus to grow, let me, I guess, work on the windows. So we have a whole bunch of window spots. We have, I think, 12 out front. And I need to come up with some design to make this look good. So I want to make this out of oak wood. Just so it's a little bit darker from the birch in the walls. And we're going to go ahead and use a couple of these new shelves. I love this new block as well, along with a couple trapdoors to really frame that out. Down here, let's throw in a couple of these mud brick walls. And I think a couple fence gates to connect out front. And then I need some fences. 1 second. So I have 30 oak fences now. Let's put these a couple high, probably like 3. And then let me throw in a couple of these stairs. And this might be too simple, but maybe just that. Yeah, that looks good enough to me. All these windows are the same. They're the same dimensions, I think. Right? They look weird to me right now, but I'm pretty sure they're all the same dimensions. So I should be able to replicate this design everywhere else out front. And then, like, you know, we have these sides here that don't have anything on them. I don't know if these are ever going to have anything on them. Because realistically, I'm not going to be over here too much, like, ever. I don't want to be one of those people who doesn't, like, complete the back of the build, but, I mean, at least there's a wall there. You know? I could have made it a lot worse. I don't know. I'm going to work on the front face here to make this look as good as it can be. And then if I feel up to it, I'll do the rest. I really don't know if I'm going to feel up to it. I got to be honest. Oh, man, and I don't have internet still, so I can't even put up a video on my second monitor while I do this. I have to actually just only play Minecraft. Oh, man, my attention span can't take it. Now all of the windows are in on the front of the building, and I think I kind of decided what to do for the sides and the back. I think I'll probably end up putting, like, these pillars all the way around, but I'm just not going to design the windows. I think that makes the most sense to me, because at least then it looks somewhat detailed on the sides. But yeah, I think just windows all the way around honestly would just be too many windows to begin with. And like I said before, I'm really not going to be viewing this build from the side too often, so I don't really think they're necessary. But yeah, the windows in the front are all done now, and this thing's looking pretty cool. I missed something. I knew I did. That window is supposed to have stuff going like that. Hold on, they're not done yet. All right, boom, 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 boom. Now they're done. I'll work on the pillars going all the way around, like closer to the end, if I can remember. I hope I do. Next up, I want to work underneath here. I did a little bit of decoration already, but it's not even close to being done. I didn't even complete the spruce trim over here. It's supposed to be stairs lining that. I have to go add those. But additionally, I want to put some flowers in here. I collected a couple of like the torch flowers and the pitcher pods, you know, from around my sniffers. I want to put those in here, probably along with a couple of the two tall flowers. I don't know which ones just yet, but we'll find something that looks good. And then these railings need to be decorated more than this. I guess this is probably a good time. The ground is also going to be completely switched out. This is not going to be grass. It's probably going to be like the path block that we have everywhere else in this village. So like that path over there, with the bricks, the granite, the terracotta, the mud, all that kind of fun stuff. I'm going to put that same gradient here as well. But I don't think I actually have any bricks on me. But it's all right. I know I have some of the other blocks on me over here. Where are they? Yeah, I have some of the mud bricks. I have some brown mushroom stem. A little bit of coarse dirt. And I think I have some terracotta. Yeah, I have a bunch of stacks of that. So I can at least throw down some of the gradient. And some of the cactus finally grew. Oh, did I not bring more sand to plant more? I definitely didn't. Can you plant cactus on moss? Probably not. You cannot. Oh well, I guess I'll just smelt down the little bit of cactus that we have. Kind of wish I didn't just smelt that cactus now, because I do need a little bit more spruce wood, so I have to go back this way anyway. I could have just grabbed a couple more pieces of sand, but whatever. Oh, you could just barely see this build through the trees. Man, that looks so good from over here. I love this. I'm gonna start here by putting down some coarse dirt closest to the building, and probably like mainly underneath this little flower bed is going to be coarse dirt as well, and probably around the pillars here too. And then from the coarse dirt, I'm gonna break in a little bit of this mushroom block and the mud brick slabs, just kind of alternating between these two. And then from there, I'm just gonna fill the rest in with terracotta. And I don't really know exactly where this pathway is going to like hook up with the main pathway over here. Right here kind of seems like the most natural spot. So I'll probably have some type of staircase going like straight down this way. That might mean that we have to move this row of houses over, but it's fine. I have enough room for that. For now though, this should be good. We at least have something that we can walk on here that's better looking than the grass. I'm also going to go through and add some coarse dirt kind of along the boundary in front of the building here. I really like what coarse dirt looks like just up against buildings. I think this kind of sets the building into the environment better than normal grass does. If that makes any sense. Just something like that. I don't know. It makes it feel like it's supposed to be here. I'm definitely going to come back through and add like a little bit of foliage out here too. But this is at least a good first step to make the front of the building look a little bit better. All right, so I think the ground is in a better spot. Let me put all the pathway materials back because my inventory is already so cluttered. All right, so I'm gonna work on these railings next. And I'm gonna go for this sort of design. And I'm going to open these two end trapdoors so we can put some signs on the front. And I think signs in the back as well is gonna look nice. Oh, I wish these walls connected to the signs there. I would totally extend them out one further, but they don't, so it's fine. I think I can leave it like that. So that's going to be the railing design. I think that looks pretty cool. Oh, wait, actually, I forgot one more thing. I want to put some warp trap doors on top of this. And that doesn't perfectly connect up with the walls, but I think it's okay. All right, and now let me put in a couple flowers here. So I'm going to sprinkle in a couple of these pitcher pods, some of the torch flowers as well, and then just a bunch of other random flowers that I have. I have a couple of these peonies. I have a cactus flower. Why not? We have a white tulip. And I have 2 more spots for flowers. Hold on. Wait, my flower storage is right here. Let's grab a sunflower. Let's grab a lilac, and I think that's all I have space for. And with the sunflower and the lilac in, that's looking pretty cool. Just a weird assortment of flowers. I like it. And we even have a torch flower to spare. All right, I do want to kind of test out a potential candle design. I'm thinking something kind of like that for the front. Oh, that actually looks really cool. Wait, I just got a better idea. All right, so I put one of the decorated pots at the bottom. Can I put a flower pot on top of this? Oh, I can, but I don't think I can put candles in here now, right? Oh, I cannot. That's all right. I still think that looks pretty cool as like a candle holder. I do have an alternative. So instead of the pot at the bottom, we can do one of these mossy cobblestone walls. And then we could do a fence. Oh, that's going to connect to the wall, though. Maybe that's not so bad. Because these lightning rods now oxidize, right? So that's going to eventually turn like this color. So that'll look pretty nice going all the way up. And I can put the 4 candles on top of that. I think the left design looks a little bit better. I just don't like how it goes from the pot just to the lightning rod. Wait, I thought of something else. Boom. Oh, that looks a lot better. I still don't really like how it attaches. But that looks so much better, I think, than just the lightning rods. Oh, that's so cool. I like that a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I originally just wanted lanterns, like up top somewhere, but this is so much cooler. I think this is the perfect lighting in here. That's so much cooler than lanterns. I might actually try to use this design most of in here too. Maybe not. That seems excessive because I'm gonna have to get a lot of candles. Each of these requires 4. I know it's not necessary that I have 4, but I think they look the best this way. I don't know. I'll think about that whenever I do the interior, which is actually going to be today, by the way. Or at least part of it. I don't know if I'll design the entire interior, but I think I might make like a couple rooms to at least display some of the art that I have so far. And then once I get more art, we can kind of expand. But regardless, some of the interior is going to be done today. All right, so let me finish off the rest of this entrance. Doesn't need too much more work. I just need to kind of put some spruce stairs all along here. And then on the other side, I need to throw on a couple of the spruce shelves. I should probably also put some stairs to actually get in. I could just do like ordinary stairs. Like that looks pretty good. But I've been really vibing with this design lately. Just making it a little bit longer. I don't know why, but there's something about this that I just like. So I'm going to go with that instead. I should probably put some kind of archway here too. Do I want to connect that all the way down to the ground? Part of me feels like I want to. Yeah, I think I want to. It's actually the perfect number of shelves too. Wow. It's like I meant to do that. Now there is this bit right here that is not decorated at all yet. And I'm going to put something here. But full disclosure, Simply Night entirely designed this. I had like no say in this section here. I like the design he came up with, so I'm just gonna kind of copy that exactly. Okay, so that's the design that Simply Night came up with. I think it looks really cool. I wouldn't have been able to do this, man. He used dead bushes. He's a madman. I think it looks really cool though, so I'm happy to have it out front. Now, I'm gonna move up to this like little tower thing. It's not even really a tower, but I'm gonna move up top and we're gonna put a big window in the front there. Probably use like the same materials that I used for the other windows. But I fear this means I'm gonna have to gather a little bit more oak wood again, because I don't have too many of these oak shelves. Stand by 1 minute. Let me chop down like 2 trees. Okay, should be able to make 12 extra of those shelves. So we got 14. That should be plenty for at least 1 window. Do we have everything else? Okay, I got the fences. Do I have any fence gates? Of course I don't. Stand by. Once again, let me chop down like 1 tree this time. 16 fence gates. That's way more than enough for this one window. But let me head up here. And I'll probably have like a very similar design to this. But actually, wait. This is, I think, 6 blocks wide. Hold on, we can do something different. A little bit funky, but it's going to look cool. This has been really weird for me lately, but I've actually been really enjoying building with even numbers. I never do that. I always say to build with odds. But evens allows you to get some really, really cool window designs. And let me put a free camera over here. Just so I can kind of get the height down that I want. Cool. I think we're going to go up one more. Wait, maybe not, because there's like already a trim there. Though actually I can form that into the cover for the window really easily. So I think that actually is a good height. Okay. So what we're going to do here, I keep jumping down to grab the birch wood that I'm missing. All right, I found another one. All right, so what I'm going to do here is put stairs just like that in the corners, and then we're going to put 2 more stairs like so in the middle. And we're going to put some shelves on top of all of these stairs. Going to reflect that pattern up here as well. And then in the middle, we're just going to have a little bit of trapdoor action. Same thing on the walls. And I'm 1 trapdoor short. And I'm 1 piece of oak plank short to make more trapdoors. You have to be kidding me. Why can't you just do this? Why can't you do that to get a oak plank back? Why? It should be allowed. You know what? Soon enough, I'm going to end up texturing this entire building anyway. And that includes these windows. So I'm just going to put some jungle trapdoors here for right now. I think jungle and oak look really nice together. So this is probably closer to the final window design anyway. So I'm okay with this. And then let's pop up here and figure out something for this. Yeah, that actually looks good. And it still kind of connects to like the rest of the trim over here. I could even make that connect a little bit better with 2 trapdoors like that. All right, and then from here, we're definitely going to put some mud brick walls. And this doesn't connect up perfectly to the stairs, but it's okay. It's going to look fine from a distance, and that's kind of mainly where this is going to be viewed from anyway. And then we'll have a couple fences just like that. I don't think I'm going to completely round this off. I mean, I guess let me see what that looks like if I were to do that. That's probably what I would do if I was fully rounding this off at the bottom. So let's peel back and see what that looks like. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I just love the shape of these windows with the shelf blocks. Like, if you look at either of these like ovals, they just look so cool in the game. Because you're just not used to seeing something like this in Minecraft. I'm going to put a tiny like trapdoor archway up here as well. I just think it was missing just something right here. The oak going directly into the birch kind of bothered me a little bit, but that breaks it up. So now let's peel back one more time. And you really can't even see that. But it does break it up just enough that I'm okay with it. And then I think this is a good spot for a couple lanterns. I don't know if I want the lanterns just next to each other like that. Oh, that actually looks okay from over here. Yeah, I'm good with that. Cool, that's going to be the window design for up here. And I'm contemplating if I want to put a window here as well. I think that's going to help a lot, actually, because I am going to see this build from, like, this angle a lot if I'm coming from my starter area. So I feel like we should have something over here. All right, so let me see what I can come up with. I'm going to start with some stairs in the corners. And let's grab a couple of these shelves again and put them like this. I have 1 oak trapdoor left, so we'll use that. And then the rest are just going to be jungle. And then in the middle, instead of the shelf and the trapdoor design, I think I can just get away with some mud brick walls and some oak fences. Yeah, that looks good. That definitely works as a window. Let me go ahead and make a little trim for this. I'll do something really similar to what we have over there. I didn't think I was going to be able to come up with something for the corners, but I'm happy with that. All right, let me throw that in the other corner. And then I think we can probably start texturing this entire thing. That's going to be a pain, but it's going to definitely be worth it. I apologize for all the free cam in this video, but it's just way easier. I got to stop apologizing, I think, because I feel like you guys understand. I hope. I don't know. I've gotten a couple comments about people talking about me using free cam too much. Screw them. That was aggressive. But anyway, I put the windows up top now, so we have the two corner windows in, and I really like the design. That looks really nice, going all the way across. I do also have enough candles. I have 4 more cyan candles. So I think I can finish off the first thing I wanted to do. Finally. Boom. I did it. But like I alluded to earlier, I'm going to start texturing up this entire build now. I just going to have to figure out what additional blocks I want to add. I'm just going to break this build down into a couple different color palettes for like each section that's going to be textured. And then I'll make like a small version of them out front, just so I can more easily show off like the texturing techniques that I'm going to use. So let me grab up a whole bunch of stuff, and then I'll be back. I got a lot of random blocks here to try to texture with. I'm still not completely sure what I'm going to do. So I'm going to kind of trial some stuff, and we're going to decide together. And by that, I mean, it's only going to be me, but I'm just going to show you my thought process. I'm going to start with the walls, right? So all of these walls are stripped birchwood. I'm going to blend this stripped birchwood into oak wood, probably then into oak planks, into jungle wood, and then into mud. This should look really good across the entire building, especially like behind the windows, towards like the roof as well. We can kind of have some stuff broken in, so pretty comfortable with this color palette. Now for the sandstone section, I know I want to end at some white block. I just don't know which one. I can get a little bit darker than this sandstone, maybe towards the bottom if I break in a little bit of this birch. Only thing holding me back from that is it might blend in a little bit too much with the walls. So maybe if I actually do that, we can put some mud at the bottom for the walls to make it stand out. That could probably work. But anyway, that's an option. I could go to this block. I could also even extend it to this block as well, the stripped birch, but I kind of want to stay away from that since that is directly in the walls. Now getting to like the brightest white block is going to potentially be interesting. Probably going to have to try a few combinations. I feel like this stripped pale oak is a little bit brighter maybe than the calcite. It's kind of hard to tell. Like this is a little bit more white maybe in some spots, but this also has some darker patches, so I honestly don't know. But we also have this bone block, and I also have mushroom stem. There's some combination here that's going to work. I just know it. I don't think that's too bad. Yeah, that could probably work. I do also have these diorite walls. We can kind of switch out some of the sandstone for the diorite whenever we're getting closer to the lighter blocks. But I just don't know if that's really going to work. These diorite walls are interesting. They're a little bit too dark, I think, all the way around to really blend with the sandstone, but it could work, I guess. My question is, how is there not a quartz wall? That would have worked perfectly here. I might just have to kind of work with what I have, so I don't know. It might just end up being diorite. But I think that color palette at least looks pretty good. It's going to make these pillars look a little bit more interesting. I am now realizing that there's a lot of walls in these pillars, so we really can't even use the bone or the stripped pale oak too much. Whatever, this might actually work out because then I don't have to gather as many bone blocks. I really don't have many. I have 9, which is not a lot if you didn't know. So we'll work out something with this. I think this is going to look better than just the sandstone, so I think it'll be okay. The roof is also going to be a pretty easy gradient to accomplish because I used copper for the roof. You could just put these 4 blocks down and that works out. That makes a really nice gradient. It's the exact roof I have over here. But I am going to extend this a little bit by just adding a little bit of warped wood. So we have the stripped warped and then warped planks. So that's the darkest we're going to get, and I think that looks really, really nice. Copper alone, though, is just one of my favorite blocks in the game. I know a lot of people don't like copper. I don't know if their opinions have changed since the copper update, but copper has always been one of my favorite blocks in this game just because of this aspect. It's so easy to make a gradient with. It just kind of takes all the thinking out of it. You just stick to this pattern. As long as you have the subsequent copper stages like next to each other, it's always going to look good. So these are going to be the gradients that I employ. The only annoying thing with a copper roof is that I do have to wax this, and I don't have a ton of honeycomb. I have almost 2 stacks. Thankfully, I don't have to wax these ones, but yeah, it's going to take a lot of honey, but it's all right. And after I go through and do all of this, I think this build is going to look 100 times better. So let me get working. This is going to take me a pretty long time, and I still don't have internet. It's some of the hermits uploaded. I was planning on watching all those videos while I did this. I'm still this person. What is happening? Anyway, let me just get started here, I guess. Going around and texturing like a big build like this is always so annoying, but the result is always worth it. I think this thing actually looks a ton better. I did change up a small aspect of the build though. I made these like window trims out of spruce now. And the reason being, with oak, it blended in with the gradient in the background a little bit too much. I just think this spruce pops a little bit better. It's a pretty minor change, but I definitely think it's welcome. And also, like, I was able to incorporate a little bit of these white blocks near the bottom. They look a bit weird up close, but when you kind of peel back, I think it actually adds a really nice effect. Looks a little bit like eroded there at the bottom. It's pretty cool. The tower in the middle, I really, really like now too. It's incredibly unfortunate that the copper golems don't stay spawned in. But it's fine, you know, they're there. We all know it. But yeah, this middle tower looks super good now. Really huge fan of the gradient in the walls. I also switched out these like pillars here for spruce, and I think it pops a little bit better. And the roof with this nice natural copper gradient. I have a few instances of the warped wood. I didn't pop it in too much, but a couple different splotches. I think it looks nice. And this thing is pretty much all textured. I mean, kind of like everything else here, I could probably go through and texture this thing like forever, but I gotta cut myself off at some point. The next thing I would like to work on is blending this building into the area better, because as it stands now, looks like it's just kind of plopped here. The terraforming isn't great. I kind of just gave myself enough room to build this and figured I would kind of terraform again later. It's now later, so I have to do it. Also, this pathway, I actually want this to connect up to the pathway over there, so we can probably carve out some way to get up here. And then I want to add in a couple of these trees. I don't even know how many, maybe like 2 or 3 per side. I think that would look really nice. And I think that this will best be done in another time lapse. I'm sorry for having so many of these, but you know, with a build this size, it's kind of necessary sometimes. So let's cut it to another one. What do you think of the new build? No, not you. I want your opinion. Oh, the back? Really want to bring that up, dude? That's messed up. Yeah, dude, it's not done. It's not textured, okay? Have you ever built anything though? That's what I thought. You stay there. What do you have? Nothing. Useless. I was gonna... Should I? No. I was gonna spleef them, but kind of feel bad for the llamas. You could just chill there. And it's raining all the time. Always happens, without fail. I'm actually going to be moving inside here in a second, so the rain shouldn't bother me too much. I do want to go over what we just accomplished, but before I do that, let me remember to actually wax these guys, because I'm definitely going to forget. That one can stay a little bit oxidized. That looks cool. And these two are fully oxidized. Let's bring them both just fully down. That works. But popping into free cam again, the exterior is now pretty much 100% done. There's probably some more stuff I could add, but I think this is in a really, really good spot. We have 6 of these trees, the same trees that we have in a few other spots around the area too. And then I also did go around and put the sandstone pillars everywhere. There's just no windows on the sides or the back. But at least it is structurally sound. Maybe. That might be something we eventually fix, but I just don't really feel like doing that in this video. Maybe that's just down the line. We're not going to really be seeing this build too much from the back, so we're good. I also went ahead and added a few of these like little flower beds in the front. There's a couple other just miscellaneous bushes, a couple benches as well, some bone meal sprinkled in. Oh, and then the entrance. I actually didn't even talk about this. We have a staircase now going all the way up to this thing. I think this looks pretty cool. Kind of got weird with the staircase, but I like it. You could also even walk up this, which isn't really intended, but I guess it works. I don't know. And then for the windows, I decided to go with some white stained glass, and then on just a couple of them, I decided to put some birch trapdoors, behind the glass. I think that just looks kind of cool. If I peel back again, it just kind of gives a cool effect. Maybe it looks like there's some shutters down on a couple of the windows. I'm gonna put some torches as well beneath the glass there, so to actually like light it up, and I think it looks really cool, especially like right there. That looks really good. So the exterior is in a spot that I'm very comfortable with. A couple of these things still need to like oxidize down or whatever. Like these trapdoors are gonna take forever, but it's fine. I have time. This is my forever world after all. Now, like I said, I'm gonna move on to the interior, and I think I'm only going to design a little bit of the inside here. I'm not gonna do this entire space right now. I think this is something that we just kind of keep building on as I get more artwork to fill up the space. I do think I want to use a different wall color on the inside than the exterior walls, so I'm not going to be using the stripped birch and that kind of gradient. I think I want to use some spruce, but I don't have too much on me over here. I might not have like any at all. I have a couple slabs, and my storage is completely out of control. I am aware. All right, don't talk about it. I got 4 stripped spruce logs. I'm gonna have to go gather a little bit of this before we actually start building. So let's go, Ghost. Let's take a journey back home again. I actually really don't think I'm going to use nearly as much spruce as I was originally thinking. I'm going to be using a lot of lime terracotta for the walls. I think that's going to look pretty good just to pop in a little bit of color here. I will be using some of this spruce though, probably on like the bottom of the walls, just to kind of act as a trim. I think that could look pretty nice. And also I'm going to be using this to kind of outline where the different rooms are going to go. We have this big box kind of sectioned off over here. I can probably even like cut this in half again. And I think I should probably make this 2 blocks thick. I could also just open this whole thing up and make it one giant room, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think we'll have smaller like exhibits, and you can kind of access everywhere from each room. So like this wall won't be completely connected. We'll have an area there to walk out and an area here to walk in. And for today, I'm just going to work on the front room, this smaller one. And I unfortunately only have 20 more of this green terracotta. That won't even be able to allow me to finish this off. But I could probably break in some moss here. That's about the same color, and that would allow me to get some of that green terracotta back, so let's go do that. And I do think I am going to have to bring this wall over here, unfortunately. I just don't know what to do around this window on the inside. It looks kind of strange. But I am once again out of green terracotta. I don't need much more though, come on. Okay, I was able to make 8 more pieces of lime terracotta. I have a little bit of this green concrete powder that I could probably work in as well, because these are all like the same color. So I think I can make this work. Since when have you been able to shear your horse and take the armor off? There's not a chance that has always been a thing. What? You could take the saddle off too? Wait, since when? There is just simply no way that that has always been a thing. I refuse to believe it. All right, and that's gonna be the size of like the first little exhibit. I think this should work out kind of perfectly if we just kind of keep making rooms similar size to this. And I figured there would be like, you know, a main like central kind of walkway kind of going through the whole place. And we just have a bunch of these little rooms just kind of branching off to the sides. We could even go up another floor somewhere, because obviously there's a lot of room like vertically. I do want to go through and use these shelves on the bottom. The only thing is the corners are a little bit weird, because I can't put a shelf block on both of these corners, you know? I do kind of have an idea. This might take up too much space, but let me see. That's what I was thinking, is that I could put a couple mud brick walls in the corners on top of a couple pieces of stripped spruce wood. We can have a couple fences on top of those walls, maybe like 3. And then maybe another wall on top. And then we can make little archways kind of going across everywhere, and then just kind of fill in the gaps with the rest of the ceiling. I feel like that could look kind of cool. But if I'm going to do this, I definitely want to move this over, because I would want this doorway to be completely central. Yeah, something like that. That looks good. Let me actually just go ahead and put in the different doorways here, just so I can kind of get a vibe of what that's going to look like. All right, so then, you know, this is how you would access the room. This is how you get into the next one. That works out pretty well. Now let me just kind of get the roof in order. I think some pale oak here and some diorite, mushroom stem, those types of blocks I feel like could look pretty cool for the ceiling in here. So I'm gonna try to use those, but let me work on these little archways here that I was talking about. I'm gonna have to use just 2 slabs on each of these instead of stairs, so I can get the archways going in every direction. And then in the middle here will be these blocks. I want to use mainly pale oak, I think, but I just have a little bit of diorite because honestly I don't have too much pale oak. Actually, surprisingly enough, I do have enough to just kind of round that off. What does this look like from down here? Looks pretty good. I think it's a cool design on the roof. Yeah, this is a cozy room. I like this a lot. And then the paintings themselves will just go on these walls here, but of course I have to get the actual artwork in here. I have no idea how to do that. Let me go figure that out quick. I have figured it out, but unfortunately, all of the paintings are 4x3 paintings, which doesn't really fit with this room, but it's fine. I can definitely figure something out. This is actually so cool to see in the game. I have a 4x3 spot here now, so if I go ahead and put down a painting, it's gonna be one of the custom ones. And look at me, dude. Look at me go, man. That's so cool. This is in my world now. All right, and there's one of the other ones. But like I was saying, the 4x3 doesn't really fit with this wall. I think what I'm gonna do to make this right one feel a little bit better with the dimensions is just round it off like with 2 vanilla Minecraft paintings. I could eventually switch these out for some more custom paintings. But I think this looks a little bit better because now it's at least balanced on the wall. And I have one more painting that I need to put in here. I just gotta figure out where. I think the way I'm gonna accomplish this is by just moving the doorway over. So now the doorway is just going to be on the right side of this wall. I think that's okay. I'm running into a slight issue. I actually need to resize one of these paintings. I'm not able to import 3 4x3 paintings. So give me 1 second and let me resize one of these. I've come up with a solution, but I think it's going to be a temporary one. And the reason I say that is because the one painting now has to be oriented like this. I had to make this one a 3x4 painting. I still think it looks good, but I do want it to be oriented properly in the future. So I'll figure out some other fix for this, but I think this is good enough for now. And then we can actually plop in the last painting, which is this one of me running away from the warden. Obviously, though, massive shout out to the 2 artists who made these 3 paintings. We got Cola, who made these 2. The one of me fishing and the one of me escaping the warden. And then we have Fried Fish, who made this one. Both of them from my Discord, so massive shout out to them. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that these are in my world. It makes my world feel so much better. And don't worry, Fried Fish, I will figure out a way to get this one oriented properly. I'm sure there's a better mod or whatever I could have downloaded, but this works for now. And with this little bit of the interior finished, I think this build is completely done for this episode. So let me throw on some shaders really quickly. Wait, actually, hold on. Are these my spooky shaders? Or are these going to be my normal shaders? Okay, they're normal. Let me throw on some shaders, pop into some free cam, and let's take a look at this build. This thing is sick. I am so happy that I built this. I think this acts as just like a perfect focal point for my Italian-inspired village. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please feel free to send me any kind of artwork that you've done so I can actually put it into this building. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.